Hi, I'm Michelle Chalfant, psychotherapist, holistic life coach, and human just like you, learning to navigate life's challenges. With over 25 years experience, I teach people how to get healthy using the adult chair model. The adult chair model is where simple psychology meets grounded spirituality, and it teaches us how to become healthy adults. From anxiety and depression to codependency and relationship issues, you can use the adult chair for just about anything. Each week, I share practical tips, tools, and advice from myself and a wide range of experts on how to get unstuck, how to live authentically, and how to truly love yourself, all while sitting in your adult chair. Welcome to the Adult Chair Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to podcast number 2 of our summer series. This, boy, is an important topic. Narcissism. This was one of your all-time favorites and one of mine as well, because what I realize is after doing this for 25 years, so many people that I've spoken to do not understand the type of person that they are in a relationship with, whether it be, again, that they were raised by a parent that was a narcissist, or a sibling was in their family and they were a narcissist, but they didn't understand what was going on. Or you have a boss that's a narcissist, or you're in a relationship, like a romantic relationship with a narcissist. What I realize is people don't understand what that looks like. So today's show is all about explaining what that looks like. Today, I interviewed actually someone I know quite well. Her name's Tracy. And she was in a relationship with a narcissist, but of course didn't know it. She married a wonderful man. They had a long courtship and everything was fabulous. And then the wedding day came. And when she looks back on it, that's when things started to change. But because she had had this courtship that was wonderful, it didn't make sense to her that he had done such a 180. So, she started to slowly doubt herself. And over time, what happens when we're in a relationship with a narcissist is it chips away at our own self-esteem and our own self-worth. And that's what happened to her. So she talks about her story. And that's why I really wanted to run this show again, because, man, it affects so many people all around the world. And we don't know it. We don't know if this person is truly gaslighting us or if they're just being controlling or what is going on, but something feels off. And that's why I'm so grateful to her for sharing her story, because she's really casting a lot of light on what narcissism is and what it looks like in a relationship. When we are in these relationships, again, our self-esteem slowly erodes. That's why it's so tricky. It's like this slow erosion of self. We start doubting ourselves. Our self-worth starts shifting. Our self-esteem starts shifting. We don't know who we are anymore. I've talked to so many people after they get out of relationships like this, and they say, like, I feel like I'm a shell. I don't know who I am. I am empty inside. I've lost my sense of self. So I'm really, really happy to announce that today, ironically, this month of July, this is something I've been working on. We've put together for you guys an online self-series course. Within this course, what you're going to work on is working on issues like I matter, because so many of us don't feel like we matter after we get out of these kinds of relationships. Feeling like you're really okay on the inside and out. Feeling like you're enough. And feeling like you can do anything. You can accomplish anything. So there are 4 main topics to this self-series, and I am hoping that you will find that you will be able to completely change your sense of self and your self-worth and self-esteem. So go check it out at theadultchair.com/self. And you will be able to, again, start building up your sense of self starting today. And don't forget, if you are part of our membership community, you get a discount on this. So again, that's at theadultchair.com/self. So before we jump over to Tracy, I do want to have a little shout out for our sponsor today, which is Bombas. I love this company. They're a sock company. I know it sounds crazy. I'm talking about socks. I only talk about things that I love. I love these socks. I used to go to Target to get my socks. Now I order my socks from Bombas. And the moment I got these socks, I have to tell you, I ordered my husband a couple of pairs. He loved them. Then my boys started stealing his socks. We've ordered from them so many times because everybody loves these socks. They're so comfortable. They are super, super soft cotton. And the thing that I really love about them, of course, is this little arch support that they have built right into the sock. And honestly, my feet are just happier. I walk at least 5 miles every single day. I do not walk without these socks on my feet anymore because my feet feel better after I walk when I'm in these socks. So, what I really love too is every purchase that we make, they donate a pair to someone in need. So check out these socks. You can buy your Bombas at Bombas, that's bombas.com/adult. And then you get 20% off your first purchase. That's Bombas, bombas.com/adult for 20% off your first order. Bombas.com/adult. Without further ado, here we go with Tracy and her story. And again, I think you're going to really like this, you guys. You might just be in a relationship with somebody that's controlling. You're going to relate to this. So enjoy, and please, again, share with whomever you think might benefit from this. All right, here we go. So let's talk about narcissistic abuse just for a second. So you're realizing maybe you had narcissistic abuse and you didn't even know it.
I wasn't even aware of it.
Interesting.
I was not aware of it all. In my mind, I knew what he was saying and what he was doing wasn't right. And it was belittling, and it was like saying all these bad things about me and putting me down. And I knew that, but in my mind, I was powerful enough. Like it wasn't affecting me. I'm strong. It's not affecting me. I don't believe that. I know that's not true. But in reality, it's like subconscious mind. I didn't realize how much it was affecting me, and that I was becoming, I'm trying to think of the best way to say it. It was like my beliefs almost shifted, but I still didn't even realize it, which sounds weird because you're like, oh, I don't think negatively about myself. But in reality, like something in my body was telling me that I wasn't good. I wasn't good at what I did. I wasn't good enough. Whether it was my social life wasn't good enough. I didn't have enough of friends. I didn't do
This is what he was saying to you?
Yeah. Well, in his actions, or he would make little comments. So they wouldn't be these direct comments. So it's weird.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I can't pinpoint him saying that, but he would insinuate things. And then it shifts your mindset and you're like, I feel this way.
Remember the example that you shared about coming home? You had started a new job and you came home from work late.
Yes.
And what did he say?
He told me that what was wrong with me, I must not be productive if I'm coming home that late. I must not be doing a good job if I'm having to work late, because I should be able to get everything done and get home early.
That's great. And this was a new job, and you were just giving your all and staying till 6 or 7.
Oh, it was with both. It was with 2 jobs. It was a job here, and it was the job we moved for. And I would always give my all, but I was also over a team. Here, I was over a team, I think, of like 25. And there, I was over a team, a smaller team, but like a team of 10. So you manage your team all day, but then you got to get your stuff done too.
At the end of the day.
And as a good boss, you do that after you're done, because you want your team to get home on time. Like I wanted my team I wanted to be there for them, help them, support them, guide them. If we had a photo shoot going on, I would be in the studio, if giving direction and help, because my biggest goal was to grow them.
Yeah.
I want to grow them because I want them to be the best that they can be.
Yeah.
And then I would take care of myself after. Because if I started the day that way, then they would be kind of like, oh, I don't know what to do. They would kind of be, fumbling. And then they would get home super late. We wouldn't produce great work. So that's how I structured my day. And I even had a freaking, this girl that was head of project management at the company, trained me in her method of project management. So I knew I was good at project management.
Yeah.
But I would come home and be told, you know, what the F is wrong with you? Like, why are you're neglecting our marriage. You're neglecting this. You're not doing this. You know, he wanted me, and I had a very high salary, like awesome salary, probably more than I should have been making at the time. But I had this incredible salary at this young age because I worked my butt off to get where I was. I was so incredibly lucky to work. The first company I was with got me like I worked right underneath the COO, right? So it was like, got all this training, got this incredible position.
But he didn't even acknowledge it.
Yeah, didn't even acknowledge that. To him, I was failing. And anything he would say, like that wasn't directly said, but every comment that was made was I was failing. Like I wasn't good enough.
Wow.
And now that I step back and I see, I'm like, oh, that's what his father tells him constantly. Like the bar is always set higher and higher. Like you're not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not good enough.
Oh.
And he was doing the same to me, but I saw what his father was doing to him.
Yeah.
But I didn't see him doing it to me.
So what was that like for you with, like in the beginning, you're in love, you're married, everything's fine. And then you start hearing these things. So in the beginning, you're thinking, what the heck? What is he saying? Like, what was that like for you? Like in the very beginning?
I think in the beginning, I was, everyone says marriage is hard. I was like, oh, maybe this is just normal. Like, I get it. It's supposed to be hard. So I was like, I'm not doing a good enough job balancing my marriage or family, personal life and work life. So I got to figure that out. But I also just started this job, and not to mention, we no longer had a VP there. So now my expectations at work is the VP's gone. Myself and the director of e-commerce have to run the marketing department together. We did it for a year and a half without a VP.
So there's no way you could have been home at 5.
There was no way. Yeah, there was no way.
So you're hearing when you get home, it's like, it sounds like, and I want to hear what it was like for you. So in the beginning, were you kind of startled or stunned, or did you feel bad? Or
I think I felt confused.
Yeah, like what the heck?
I think I felt confused in the beginning, and that confusion over time turned into feeling stuck or feeling like I had heavy weights on me, and I felt like I couldn't accomplish anything because it was like I was trying to balance. In my mind, I had all these things at work I needed to accomplish, and I've always been good at setting goals and achieving things. Well, I felt stuck because there was this voice over here, which was him telling me like, you're not doing good enough. So I when you're told so much that you're not doing good enough, it was like physically I responded in that way. Like I then couldn't do my job. It was like I felt like I couldn't get my goals done. I knew things had to get done, and I just felt stuck, and I felt so weighted down, and I couldn't get anything. So it went from confusion to feeling like heavy and weighted down, and knowing I felt that way and wanted to break out of it. But in my mind, it was me, and I needed to fix it.
Wow.
And I needed to fix the situation. And then it progressed into, negative self-talk and just negative thoughts constantly of like, oh, maybe I'm, but I didn't even see that transition, which is so weird because I didn't see that end part of it until I was out of the marriage. And I look back and like, oh my gosh, my mindset. But it wasn't only my thoughts about myself. It was my thoughts about life and what was right and what was wrong.
Tell me about that. I don't know.
So it like, it was.
So like it affected everything.
It affected everything.
Give me an example. So that was my question. Like, so how else did it affect you outside of work?
Yeah, like things that I used to love doing. Like I would work out every single day and run 3 miles, and I loved it. Stopped doing that.
Really?
Because it just consumed my life. No, I no longer had time for self because I was so consumed with this. But it also changed my mindset on church example. I went to go to this great church. It's very open and very whatever. And I've always thought fine about it. Well, he was very against women serving, like as a deacon or as a whatever.
No.
And all of a sudden I I look back and I'm like, wait, I never had a problem with this.
So you started having a problem with it though, because what was he saying to you?
Nothing. He believed it was wrong and would almost make me feel guilty that not
so he had guilty. Little comments, I would guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Little tiny ones.
Yeah, or he was so confident in himself about it. Like he was like, this is the right way. And would just say, he would say not negative things to me, but like, that's just not right. Like I can't go there because that happened. I'm like, what? And in my mind, I was like, oh, okay, you know what? I do think men should be the leaders. Fathers should be the leaders. And I've always thought that way, but never before was I like offended by it. And now I look at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I now think that way. And I don't think that's what I thought before. And I have this incredible person that I talk to about it, actually a family member, but a more distant one. And I was sharing with her, I was like, because we were talking about that specific example. And I think I said to her, I go, I don't know what I believed before. Because, and that's how
it's
bad
like
it
brainwashing.
is. Yeah.
It sounds like complete brainwashing. But what I
didn't see it, and that's what's scary.
That's what's so crazy. It's like, what's the word? Insidious? Is that the right word? Where it happens like a little bit at a time, like teeny tiny little sprinkles that come in. It's not like this blindsiding, like, difference in truth where he was saying to you, like, what's wrong with you? You'd go to a church like, because then you could maybe get in a debate with him on that.
Yeah.
But it was these little itty bitty drops of comments that were coming in.
And I think how it started, like for the church, for example, like I loved the church I went to. I grew up there, loved it, like have always just admired how open they are and accepting they are. It's more, not conservative, it's actually more liberal, but it's more formal.
Yeah.
Like we have the pews, the wooden pews, and something about that. I'm like, oh, that's home to me, that's me, my growing up. But I was willing to sacrifice that and go where he wanted to go. And I was okay finding somewhere together, but it went from, I'm this denomination. And before we talked about him, he was like, I'm good with trying other places. And then we got married and all of a sudden and it was like, no, I'm not going anywhere else. We're going to this denomination. And you're like, and I felt like as his wife, I was like, okay, you know what? It's a little give and take. And now that I look back, I was like, I gave everything. Like everything was, oh, we need to meet halfway. So I'll try this for him. I'm like, wait a minute.
So there was no him shifting and being flexible, going with what you wanted to do.
I didn't see that though.
But it changed when you got married? Mm-hmm. Interesting.
It was the facade prior, like the dating, everything was, he was this confident guy and going, we went out with friends and he was so confident in himself. He was successful at what he did and he loved it. And he has this amazing life and he's so happy and he's going to do this for us. And I don't have to, I can do whatever I want and I won't have to worry about money a day in my life. And like, just, he came in as this powerful, like, I got you, we're gonna have this incredible life. I'm this perfect person. And then we got married and people asked me like, did you see it before? And I'm like, I really didn't. Like he was that good. Yeah. He was everyone was drawn to him. Even my family members after marriage were like, oh my gosh, he's amazing. Cause he had a great personality.
Wow.
In front of people. And then it was like, we got married. Literally, we got married. And it was like that wall came down and all of a sudden it just became very controlling and very dictating and the negativity and all that. And I realized that I think at the time, but I didn't see like how big it was until now I step back and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I have people I've spoken to, third party had nothing to do with the marriage or us or anything like that. And they look at me and will say, how did you even stay there for your short term? Like, it feels like it's been like 10 or 15 years for me versus just a few years, which is crazy.
I know, because 2 years, 3 years?
3.5.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So did you feel, it sounds to me like it was like a whittling of your self-esteem and created self-doubt and.
Yeah. Yes. And, exactly.
And I'm hearing, and I don't know, but like maybe a little bit of depression seeping in when you had so much self-doubt, you couldn't get it all done. Was there anxiety or depression or anything?
Oh, straight up went to anxiety and depression.
Okay.
I ended up, yeah, I mean, who cares? I ended up getting on medication thinking like, maybe it's something in me that's like an imbalance, which I understand there's imbalances and things like that. Like I know that's out there, and I know medication is, I'm not saying medication is bad, but in my mind I was like, that's what it is. And, I wasn't sharing with people what was going on.
Crazy. What a miss. Like and when it happens that slowly, like the drip. It's like this drip that keeps coming into you, and you're changing who you are, and you're changing how you see the world because of what he's saying to you. We don't see it.
Yes. Yeah. I did not see it one bit. And I pride myself on being good judge of people. Like I can talk to someone and in a couple minutes know if this is a good person or I need to keep my distance. I've always been a great judge of character. Always.
But he really bamboozled you.
Yeah. Which is crazy. And also, I think the biggest thing for me, the biggest like, oh my gosh, I just can't believe is how much it shifted my mindset, and I didn't even realize it. And I'm still dealing with that today, being like, oh my gosh, how did I go from this person to this person way over here?
Yeah.
Like A to, maybe not Z, but A to M or something like that.
Yeah.
That you're like, this is who I was before. Like, I loved going out. It wasn't like crazy, but I loved, and I had a smaller group of friends, not huge. But I loved going out. I loved, we did dinner parties and a close group of my friends. I talked to them all the time. I loved running and working out. It was my outlet. I loved helping people. Like whether it was a grandparent or, a friend that needed, my life was so much more. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like such a recluse. And so I don't even remember the last time I went out with friends.
Wow.
I was so involved with friends, with church, with other activities, with my family, like going to nieces and nephews and cousins, games and things like that. I didn't leave because I just was so weighted down and covered up now. Like I didn't even see myself anymore.
Wow. Did he try to turn you against? Now, was it him that turned you against friends and family, or you just felt reclusive? Like, did he say any little?
No, I think it was more so a reclusive. There was some drinking involved, and
for him,
not me. there was drinking involved, and
a lot of drinking.
Yeah, a lot of drinking, and I think friends actually put up that boundary, which good for them. Like it kind of makes me sad because I'm like, oh wait, if you were a good friend, would you have checked on me? And maybe they should have, maybe they shouldn't have. But it was so unhealthy, and at the time I didn't realize how much it was affecting. He didn't turn me against anyone.
Well, he was turning people away because he was drinking, and they didn't want to be around that. Yeah. So in a way, again, it's very covert what happens here. So
and he was almost like putting, I envision like a clamshell. He was like almost kind of taking a clamshell like that and like shutting us out from the world.
Yeah, that's what happens.
And and so in a sense, he wasn't like talking negative or turning us, but he was like closing us out from everyone because he then had control over the situation. And to this day still feels like he has control. Like if he threatens something, that's truth. And like, that's your truth. That's not my truth. Mm-mm. That's not truth. That's what you see it as.
And I want to know, how did you wake up, if you will? Like, because it's a bad dream. We literally lose ourselves, and it's like we lose consciousness and we're in a dream state because of this slow drip. It's a drip. It's a drip of untruths that they feed us, right? And all of a sudden you're depressed and you're anxious taking meds and you have no idea why, and you think it's something internal, like some hormonal imbalance or whatever. So how did you wake up out of that dream?
I think when I was back here, it was just some very all of a sudden things were like, so I envisioned this like this person, right? And all of a sudden there was these cracks were kind of coming open in him, and you'd get just this like bolt. And it was this bolt of like anger and yelling and you effing better get a lawyer because you're not gonna have, like, just this like directed. And those, my new job, that, you know, I think it was just like being in all these places in the right people were put in my life that opened my eyes. So the right people, and there was a couple of them.
Let me ask you a question.
But then
were people saying things to you, like your closest friends and family, like something's wrong? Or were people not even seeing that?
No, they were. So family was frustrated with him. My sister saw it. And she was over it. Yeah. She saw some of the, you know what I'm talking about? Like, I'm such a visual person, but like, it was like this little crack would come open in him and he'd show his ugly side. She
like
saw
in front of her?
In front of her.
Oh, so it was not just when you say the crack, you would see the crack in the anger and the scary
So it wasn't, all of a sudden I was seeing this, like, I mean, it was just hateful. It was just hateful. And she saw it. And when she saw it, I felt so bad. I was like, oh, I'm so embarrassed that she saw that. Why should I be embarrassed? Number one. Yeah. But she was over it. So, you know, everyone was hopeful that it would turn around. And, you know, and I was the one saying that, you know, I'm like, you can't give up. You can't give up. Like, marriage is for life. And that was my viewpoint the whole time.
Yeah.
And then I just decided, I was like, you know, I just need to talk to some people.
Yeah.
And I talked to some individuals and like, this is the situation. They're like, you know, it's not good. And yes, marriage is for life. And yes, you made this promise. And, you know, my viewpoint was, unless there's, like an affair or something like that, that's the only way you can get, divorced. And my preacher of all people, that family member I talked to a lot, both of them said, he is cheating on you with alcohol.
Yeah.
And he shouldn't be treating you that way. And I can promise you, if God was standing right next to you, he wouldn't want you to be treated that way either.
Yeah.
And my preacher grabbed my hand and goes, he goes, what do you need to hear from me? Do you want me to tell you it's okay to get divorced? I was like, I think I do.
Yeah.
I need to hear it.
Yeah.
And he goes, it is okay. And not only is it okay, but you need to do it or you're not going to make it out of this.
That gives me goosebumps.
I know.
Holy moly.
I know.
Yeah.
And it was because again, my mindset in my mind, no matter if he beat the crap out of me, I wasn't going anywhere because I had been brainwashed that was the way to think now.
Yeah.
And not that I'm like, everyone go get divorced or anything like that. You know, you get divorced for whatever you want. But my mindset had shifted and it took him telling me, not only is it okay, but you need to, or you will not get out of this.
Yeah.
Like you will not survive this.
It's so abusive. And it's amazing to hear how you went from this very healthy, balanced, hardworking, excellent job.
Yeah.
For the age that you are to have the job that you had and the amount of money you're making was like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yet he chipped it away.
Yeah.
He chipped away your belief in yourself, the self-love you had, your self-worth, all of that chipped away, gone.
Yeah.
And you had to hit bottom. But I wonder for other women or men that are in this scenario, what's the lesson? Like, what can you give to them? What help can you offer someone that might be in a similar marriage, let's say, or a partnership that they're with someone and they're depressed and they're anxious and it doesn't feel good anymore? Like, what would you say to them?
I think the best thing I did for myself, and especially for those that struggle with, I'm not ready to go there. I'm not ready to separate. I'm not ready to get divorced. If I'm in a relationship, you know, or with a partner, I'm not ready to break that off, is just be aware and realize, like, you deserve to be happy. You are a good person, no matter what anyone tells you. Yeah. If you feel good about what you're doing and you're confident in who you are, be aware of that and remind yourself of that and then step out of the picture for a while.
Yeah.
So I think I was separated for a year before we filed for divorce. And it took me that long to be okay with filing for divorce.
Yeah.
So just get out of the picture and not out of the picture, but give yourself some space.
Yeah.
If you're younger and have parents you can go stay with, or if you are able to go rent a place, or whatever, just separate from that relationship or, that person, set boundaries and really try to hold to them. And I think that you will then see, like, that's when I started becoming aware.
It's that is exactly what I'm feeling, is like you were physically separated.
I physically had to get away from it.
Came.
Yeah.
So for someone that is, let's say, in a new partnership or new marriage, I'm going to add this. Please agree or disagree with me. But if your partner starts acting in a different way than how they acted for all the months or years that you'd been with them before, and it makes you feel bad, hoist that flag, that red flag.
Yes.
Like, that's a red flag. And
keep track of those flags.
Yeah, keep track of those flags and notice, like, hold on, this feels really off to me. This isn't like how he normally treats me. Wonder what that is. And at first I think that we probably rationalize and say things like, oh, he had a hard day, or, oh, he's...
he can't deal with death.
He can't deal with death. So-and-so died, and he's just having a bad day. He's taking it out on me. I'm going to give him a pass. It's okay. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not okay. Like, I think, people know how I feel about any sort of abuse. It's like, get out.
Well, and
like,
you know what I think?
It's not okay. Ever is it okay to have somebody treat you unkindly? Now, again, I have bad days. Like, there are some days I have a really bad day. I have screamed at my kids. I have dropped the F-bomb on my children and husband and family members and even friends. I know I've done that. However, here's the difference. If I do that, or when I've done that in the past, it does not happen very often, but I'm human and it happens.
It happens to everyone.
Right? I go back to them and I will sit down and I own it and I say, you know what? That was not okay. I'm so sorry. And I mean it when I say I'm sorry. That was inappropriate and no one should ever talk to you in that way. And I'm so sorry that I did that. That's the difference.
Yeah.
So somebody can be ugly and swearing and put you down, all this crap. Do they own it and apologize afterwards? Yeah. And I don't hear that he did that with you. And if he did, let me just say one more thing.
I was going to say, I know where you're going.
You know what I'm going to say?
Because it's going to be the same thing I'm thinking now.
I'm sorry. This is really makes me mad. I'm sorry that you feel that way. Like, it's this backward freaking apology. That's not an apology.
Yes. It was always, it was always that. And not only that, so even if you don't pick up on it being a backwards apology, watch the pattern. Because if it's he yells or she yells or whoever yells, apologizes, does it again, does it again, does it again, does it again, then there's a pattern. And I think that's where it can become kind of slippery because I wasn't paying attention to the pattern. So when I say keep track of them, I literally mean write it down. Yeah. Because that is something I started doing. And I think that started when I started, getting into all this and awareness and all that. I started writing things down and I was like, oh my gosh, here's my timeline of everything that's happened. Holy cow. But you don't see it unless you physically are writing it down, a visual person, and you see this was literally happening every day. Or if a month you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, every weekend we have this huge blowout. Like, it's a pattern. But in the moment, you may not think, you're like, oh, it's okay. I'll let this one go. Or he may apologize or she may apologize.
So I'm saying we sweep it. Oh, well, they're having a bad day. It's okay.
And the backwards apology. I love that. That's so true. So true.
Or they'll say, yeah, I'm really sorry. And it's like, you got to
not sincere.
Do you feel the apology? Like a sincere apology, we feel, right? It's like, gosh, I really felt how sorry they were.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Well, and a narcissist is really smooth about that too, I think.
Yes.
Because, he would come up and hug on me and kiss on me and like joke about like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that, da, 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 and be all like lovey-dovey and try to make me laugh. That was the key. He would always try to make me laugh.
Which again, how confusing is that?
Yeah.
Like, oh, wait, he's his old self.
Yeah.
He's back.
Yes. So it was like this wave. It was like, oh, but it's something about the laugh. Like he would try to turn it by making me laugh or joke about it or be sincere about it. But then it was the pattern because it just kept going and going and going and going. And, there were nights I just, in my gut, I think the awareness is key because some nights, even though it was still happening in my gut, I was like, something's just off. Like, I don't feel good about this. Yeah. And I didn't pay attention to that.
Yeah.
And you have to pay attention to when something doesn't feel good.
Yeah. Especially when you're starting to feel depressed or anxious or whatever. And it's like, wait a minute. When did this all begin?
Yeah.
And if we're not aware and living in the moment and being present and conscious, we're going to miss it.
Yeah. I think that's the key.
We're going to miss it.
Your eyes will be open to so much if you do what you just said.
But it's a spell, really, they put us under a spell and we don't see it, and I would imagine people would think like, well, I don't want to write it down. He may find it. Another option is to tell your very best friend or your mom or someone that you really trust and have them keep the journal.
Yeah.
And you can call and say,
that's such a great idea.
I just want you to know today he did it again. This is what happened. Please write it down and keep that journal at your house.
Yeah, that's such a great idea. And
right?
Those that love you would be willing to do that for
absolutely.
Sure. For sure.
They're not going to judge you. They're not going to think you're crazy. They want to love you and help you.
Yeah.
And if it's an issue.
That's such a great idea. I love that idea.
Yeah. Because
I wish I had thought of that back then.
Yeah. But I mean, it's true. Like a lot of people go, well, my God, if he finds it, he'd kill me or he'd be so upset with me or we'd have a huge fight about it. Well, let someone else keep that journal and just highlight it, for someone else. So.
Well, yeah, no, I think it's that. And I started recording when the drinking was heavy. I would record things.
Yeah.
And I recently went back and listened to him and I'm like, how did I not see that? I listened to it. I'm like, if anyone else was in that position, I would say, what are you doing in this?
Yeah.
Like, why are you letting this happen? Because it was just, but you're right. You're so blinded by it. And so the awareness and things like that, I think are so key. And whatever we can do to open our eyes is going to be the best thing for sure.
It's truly a loss of self. It's like we forget or lose who we really are and become someone else.
Yeah. And then it's scary when you realize that you're I almost had this fear of what's next. Like I wasn't anxious about what's next, like what happens if I get out of this.
Yeah.
But it was kind of, I was almost sad.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, now I'm going to have to refine myself. But now that I'm doing that, I'm like, it's really exciting.
Yeah.
Because I get to go back to who I was. Plus, maybe there's some new things. And so I think there's a little bit of fear there too. And the best thing you can do when you are aware and you have this fear of getting out of it is to surround yourself and talk to people. I was not, for that 3 years or 3.5 years, I was not willing to talk to people. Yeah. I tried to hide it. I wanted to figure it out and fix it myself.
Well, you're newly married and it's an exciting time and you had this beautiful wedding and people would think, oh, you're newlyweds. This is so fun. And you must be having such a great time together. Yeah. And it's like,
and you answer with fake answers.
Yeah. And it's like, everything's great. Everything's fine. And it's like, not really. Yeah. Behind closed doors, it's a whole other thing going on.
Yeah, but I was afraid to say that.
It's embarrassing, probably.
But if you find a couple people that you trust, find a couple, like the family member I was talking about, like she just has this very like grounding and very, she sees the facts and she can pinpoint. She's like, you feel this way. Or she would reassure me that like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like, you're not crazy. Because I felt crazy.
Yep.
And she assured me I was not crazy. And her and about one other person, so 2 people, you don't have to go tell everyone your story. I'm not telling everyone to tell. Like, don't say,
for sure.
Go tell everyone what's going on and he's this horrible person or she's this horrible person. But find 1 or 2 people that you can confide in and be like, I just feel crazy right now.
Totally. I know when I was healing, and still do call a couple people that when I was going through codependency recovery, I'll call it, because we lose our reality. And I think you're talking about the same thing. You know, it's the same kind of thing. We lose our reality, and I have the same thing. My go-to people I'll call and I'll say, I need a reality check. This is what just went down over here. Can you tell me, was that healthy or not healthy? Because I'm a little confused. And they'll go, yep, that was healthy. Or nope, that was not healthy. So it's the same kind of thing. Like,
or was I wrong? Was I really wrong to come home late?
Am I crazy? Yeah. Is it okay that I came home at 7:00 at night, you know, in my new job that I'm busting my butt over and everyone at work loves me and they think I'm doing a great job? Should I be coming home early because I'm a newlywed? Yeah. Like, how confusing. I can see that there'd be a lot of confusion. Well, I'm a newlywed and my husband just wants me to come home early. So, someone in a healthy relationship, though, wouldn't talk to us in a negative way.
Yeah. But if you're a newlywed, you don't know that. Like, you don't know.
And you give them grace and we say, oh, again, bad day, or...
Marriage is supposed to be hard, right?
And marriage is hard. Oh, yeah. What do they say? Marriages take a lot of work. Well, exactly.
I wish they would not say that.
How much work?
Yeah.
Right?
It's thrown out there. Oh, the first year, like, they're like, oh, yeah, honeymoon phase, but that first year is your hardest. I wish someone would have said, like, yeah, your first year is hard, but, like, here's really what that means. In my mind, I thought what we were going through, I was like, well, shoot, this year is 3.5 or 3 years. But maybe it gets better. Like, maybe I'm just not doing this right. Maybe I'm not doing it right like other people did.
So much self-doubt, I hear.
I know, yeah.
And knowing you don't have self-doubt. I'm listening to you like, wow.
When it comes to business, I don't. When it comes to that,
fascinating. It is fascinating what happens. So, yeah.
I know, it's crazy.
This was so good.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for sharing your story. Like, I really feel like it's such a powerful story. Because it affects, I really believe it affects more people than we would imagine.
Yeah. The last thing I would say regarding it is the one thing I wish I had known or someone had told me, and some people, I think that's one thing that changed for me towards the end, is in my mind, I was like, if I was physically abused, I'd be out of this relationship like that. No one deserves to be physically abused. I did not realize honestly, this is awful to say, some days I'm like, I wish I would have been physically abused versus mentally and emotionally.
Yeah. No, I've heard that many times. Yep.
Because it just smashes you down.
Yep.
And physically, I probably could have fought back, or there would have been physical. Yeah. People could have physically seen it, and I wouldn't have felt guilt. Like, I would have been like, oh yeah, people can physically see this, so they believe me. Yeah. In my mind, people wouldn't believe me because it was so... Because they weren't seeing what it was happening.
Right. And when he interacted with everyone that you knew, he was this great, amazing guy. So then when you're sitting here saying, it's really not that great, I would wonder if they would say, well, come on.
Yeah. Like, are they, and that was in my mind.
Do they believe me?
How can I prove this? I can't prove it because there was no physical proof. I'm a very black and white person. I'm like super like, show me the proof. Here's this and that's the route we go. There is no physical proof. Yeah. I mean, there was when you go back and look, but the mental and emotional abuse is very hard to prove.
Yeah.
Physical abuse, you can prove.
Yeah.
Now, you may be scared to, but you can.
Yeah.
And I just hope people realize if you feel emotionally and mentally abused, that is just as bad. Like, that's not okay.
I agree.
And I had a twisted thinking about that. And I don't even know if that was my thinking my whole life or what. Until you're in it, you don't realize it. And totally people just need to know it's not okay. It's not okay.
I love that. It's not okay. So true.
Yep.
I'm with you. Thank you. This was great. Thank you for sharing your story.
Of course.
So that was such a great show. I am so grateful to Tracy and her vulnerability and for all of the details that she shared about this, because gosh, we need information like this out in the world so we can learn what's going on and stop blaming ourselves. I find so many of us blame ourselves when we are the ones that are in these abusive relationships. So I hope you found this podcast as enlightening as I found it. And do not forget, Go to theadultchair.com/self, and you can get the online course today to start building up your own internal sense of self. This course is incredible. I could not be happier to offer this to you guys. I know how much we all need to build up that internal sense of self, and this is going to help you do it. And you can do it from the privacy of your own home. It is all online. All right. That's all I've got for you today. I look forward to connecting with you. Come find me on social media. I am all over the place. Just look for Michelle Chalfant. I am on Instagram, Facebook, and of course, we've got the Adult Chair Closed private community Facebook if you'd like to come join us there. We look forward to seeing you. I will see you guys all next week, seated right here in the Adult Chair.